Welcome to Jank Play TCG. My name's Landon, and here we play Jank. And today we're going over the Jank list for Ascended Heroes. Ascended Heroes has almost ascended onto us. That didn't make any sense. But it is almost here, and we are going to go over every card that is an EX, that is a Mega, that is a Trainer's Pokemon, that is important in some fashion, that I think is interesting because I think they're neat. Whatever. We're looking at a lot of cool cards from the upcoming set, the set that comes out in a couple days here. We're looking at a bunch of cards. So let's get into it. First off, I want to point out our translations are found on PokeBeach. That's where I got all the translations from, and grabbed the card art from there as well. So shout out to them. Not a website I'm overly familiar with, but that's where I found the set list. So yeah, let's get this going. So first up, we're going to talk about the trainers. That's right, I'm changing things. If you've watched one of my Jank lists before, this is very different than how I normally do things. All right, moving forward. The trainers. So first up, we got to talk about the most goated card in the entire set. The only card that I am interested in the set for. Like, there's other cards that look like they're fun, right? And I'm sure I'm going to make a lot of decks over these fun cards. This card, though, this card is why I want the set so badly. Why I can't wait. It's a few days away, and I'm just like, give it to me already. That's PokePad. This is such a goated card. Get this. Get this. It's an item card, right? Search your deck for a Pokemon without a rule box, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Then shuffle your deck. I've been begging for something like this. We have had cards like Cherish Ball that lets you grab, what was it, GXs, or was it just Tag Team GXs? I don't know. We've had cards like Mega Signal that came out 2 sets ago that lets you grab Mega Pokemon. And finally, we get something that just lets you search out for regular Pokemon without having to discard 2 extra cards. It's beautiful. It's going to see play in every Popper deck. It's so beautiful. Why won't the tears stop falling? It's lovely. I love it. Best card in the entire set. Sorry, we had to start off with a banger, but here it is, you know? And that's why there's a picture of a goat. Literally, that's the whole reason. Because the card's goated. Whoop. What the? All right, even my computer wanted to skip over Light Ball. Because Light Ball, we went from the best to the dumbest? I don't know. Light Ball is a tool card. The attacks of the Pikachu EX this Pokemon tool is attached to do 50 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon EX. Cool. Pikachu EX. We got the one from Surging Sparks. That's a good one. You're already doing 300 damage, so now you're doing 350. So there's some Megas that you're hitting now. A Kangaskhan, a Mega Kangaskhan with a Bravery Charm, this Pikachu can now knock out. Yep. Moving on. We got Thick Scale. It's not looking weird to you guys, but it's looking weird to me. Interesting. Thick Scale is a tool card. The dragon Pokemon this tool is attached to takes 50 less damage from the attacks of your opponent's grass, fire, water, and lightning Pokemon. It's giving dragons the resistance that they have in the video games. That's it. That's all it is. It's cool. I might play it in some decks. I have a deck in mind from this set that I'm like, Thick Scale, maybe I'll play that because I don't know what else to play. But 50 less damage is quite a bit. It's better than Sacred Charm. However, Sacred Charm can affect more Pokemon. So like give and takes, you know, like thick scale is more less damage. Does that make sense? 50 less damage, where Sacred Charm is 30 less damage. But yeah, thick scale only works against particular types, where Sacred Charm works on any type if they have an ability. So like I see the give and take there, and I think there's a reason to play it. Okay. It is showing different on my screen than on your screen. There we go. So we got Waitress here. Waitress seems like an interesting supporter. I do like it, but I don't think it's that great. I don't know. You make the call. Waitress, look at the top 6 cards of your deck, choose a basic energy you find there, and attach it to one of your Pokemon. Then shuffle the remaining cards back into your deck. Okay, you can use Academy at Night to put an energy right on top of your deck, and then Waitress can grab that energy and attach it, right? So that's an extra energy attachment on your turn, which is pretty cool. However, it's completely outclassed by something like Mela or something like Crispin. Mela will attach a basic fire from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon, and you draw up until you have 6 cards, but you can only play Mela after one of your Pokemon were knocked down, which is one of the biggest issues with the card. But then Crispin, you gotta search out 2 energy. If you only grab 1 energy with a Crispin search, you actually can't get the extra attachment. It goes into your hand. The other card is what gets attached. So like I get where they're coming from, but Crispin and Mela are both just better cards. Mostly Crispin. Crispin is as universal as Waitress, where Mela is just better if you're playing a fire deck. Waitress is like a generic, which is great, but Crispin is just better than that. So yeah. Nighttime Mine. And they call it a mine. A mine! Sorry, I had to. Attacks used by each Terra Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponent's, cost 1 more. Nice. It's 1 colorless more, but, you know, whatever. Yeah, it's fine. It's good. Sure. I don't know what else to say about this. Dragapult's attack costs 1 extra, I guess. That might mess up some Dragapults, but they probably play a counter stadium. So then you gotta like try to win the stadium war, and like if you're both playing 4 copies of your stadiums, there's no way this stadium is sticking before your opponent wins the game, right? Like if you think about it. So like, yeah, I do like this stadium. I think it's great. We could have used this a year or more ago. Like a year ago, this card would have been so good. Now, Terras kind of feel like they're falling off. Like Goldango is best deck in format, or was? Dragapult really seems like the only card that's going to be affected by this. Maybe Charizard EX, but mostly, who cares about Charizard? Anyways, I did it again. Nope. There we go. Canary. Maybe this slideshow is just too big. Maybe. Canary. You must discard a card from your hand in order to play this card. Search your deck for up to 4 lightning Pokemon, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Made me think of Tulip, right? Tulip, you don't have to discard a card, but you can only get your Psychic Pokemon from the discard. Tulip can also grab Psychic Energy, which, like, is a thing against Canary, but Canary grabbing lightning Pokemon, if you're playing a lightning deck, why not? I think it's pretty good. Especially post-rotation after Miraidon EX, the Scarlet Violet one, rotates, and you can't tandem unit. Is that what it was called? It might have been called something else, where you get 2 basic lightning Pokemon from your deck and put them on your bench. Like, once that's gone, Canary's going to see more play for lightning decks. So, yeah, Canary's not bad. Next up, I want to talk about Pokemon. Just regular old Pokemon. Let's talk about Pokemon. The first one we're going to talk about is Heliolisk. It's got this ability called Frilled Generator. Huh. If you played Canary from your hand during this turn, you may use this ability once during your turn. Search your deck for up to 2 basic lightning energy and attach them to this Pokemon. Then shuffle your deck, which is like cool, you know? Extra energy attachments to Heliolisk. Like you could have many Heliolisk, and it looks like they can each trigger, and then you could like play E switches to move energy and that kind of craziness. But let's just talk about the attack, because the attack I didn't find kind of found whatever. But powerful bolt, 70 times damage. Flip a coin for each energy attached to this Pokemon. This attack does 70 damage times the number of heads. So like, yeah, you want to accelerate all this energy out onto your Heliolisk, so then you're flipping a lot of coins. I'm not sure if the math really maths very well, because if you search for 2 basics, you attach them, right? Chances, like, you have a 50% chance of getting heads per coin flip, right? So we just kind of dumb that down to, out of 2 energy, you kind of expect to get 1 heads. That's not necessarily the case. You could flip 2 tails and just be but I'm not sure if the math really maths as well to equate to big attacks and whatnot. It seems like a fun card. I might play it in a popper deck if Heliolisk is popper legal. A lot of these cards don't have a real rarity to them because they're from like Japanese starter decks, so we don't know what rarity they're going to have out here. We have estimations, but I'm going to wait for the hardcore cold facts, you know. But yeah, I'm not sure how good this is going to be, if you can really rely on it. Electric Generator could help you out too, to get more electric energy out there. Like, it sounds like the makings of a fun popper deck, not a fun standard deck though, sadly. Next up, we have Silcoon with the ability Cascading Cocoons, which is a great ability name. When you play this card to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may use this ability. Search your deck for a Cascoon or a Silcoon and put it onto your bench. Then shuffle your deck. Cheat out evolutions? Yes, please. Especially with Forest of Vitality in the format, being able to get these cascading cocoons just exploding out onto the field and becoming a real nuisance for everything. I think it's fantastic, and it's going to lead to some fun and interesting matches. And I think the deck that this is building towards is going to be a lot of fun. But for that, I got to jump into the next Pokemon. Beautifly, which evolves from Silcoon, right? So we just talked about Silcoon. Now we're talking about Beautifly. Beautifly, for 1 grass energy, Stun Spore, 40 damage, flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. No one cares. Well, someone cares. It might win a game, honestly. But then we want to talk about Energy Straw. 80 times damage. Your opponent reveals their hand knowledge. This attack does 80 damage times the number of energy you find there. Cool. The translation didn't say basic energy, so maybe special energy works too. I wanted to throw out Giovanni's Charisma. As a supporter, it allows you to move an energy card from your opponent's active Pokemon to their hand. So that's going to be 1 extra energy you find there. So that's going to be 80 more damage, which can add up, right? But if that's your only way of putting energy into your opponent's hand, it's going to be a struggle, you know? And that's why we need to also talk about Dustox. Dustox with the ability Rustling Wind. Once during your turn, you may flip a coin. If heads, return 1 energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon to their hand. So you can have multiple of these Dustox out and flip a coin for each one, and for each heads you put an energy from your opponent's active back into their hand, which can start to add up. And will they be able to accelerate that energy back out onto the field? It's going to be very difficult to. I don't think they'll be able to, but they might. But is that going to be the optimal way to play, or what? Like, it seems extremely disruptive. plus having a big attacker, it just seems like a lot of fun. And then it does have a 2 energy attack where it does 100 damage, leaves your opponent's Pokemon poisoned and asleep, which is fine. It's not great, but it's fine. As like, oh, I can't find my Beautifly, I guess I'll have to attack with Dustox if you can get 2 energy on it. Yeah, like, I think it's fine. Let's move on. Numel! I almost didn't talk about this Numel. It's got an ability, Incandescent Body. If this Pokemon is in the active spot and takes damage from attacks of your opponent's Pokemon, the attacking Pokemon is now burned. Your opponent then flips a coin, and on a heads, they heal from the burn. On a tails, they will remain burned. Now it's your turn. If this Numel is still alive, or you had a Numel on the bench, you can now evolve that up into Mega Camera Up EX, which for a single energy can do, quick math, 240 damage if your opponent's active Pokemon is burned. So they just took 20 from the Numel's burn, so that's really more like 260, and then they're going to take 20 from the burn that they currently have, and that's 300 damage, or not 300, that is 280 damage, and that's really good. That is really good damage. So yeah, I think Mega Camera Up, while it may not suddenly become best deck, I think it can be a fun deck, and Numel just makes it better. So yeah, I might build it again, maybe. Stunfisk. So Stunfisk, for those of you that know this channel, you have known I have a love-hate relationship with Stunfisk, mostly because of one person in the Discord, who shall remain nameless, continues to body me with Stunfisk decks. It seems like anytime there's a new Stunfisk, especially in Popper, they build a deck around it and completely body me, and I am annoyed by it. And this just feels like it's going to be the next annoyance. So 1 energy, 30 damage, Pouncing Trap. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. During your next turn, the defending Pokemon takes 100 more damage from attacks. Now, the one saving grace that I have from this Stunfisk is, this is an effect placed on the defending Pokemon. It is not actually an effect placed on Stunfisk. If this translation is the accurate way that they are going to have this written out, this is the way it works. The defending Pokemon takes 100 more damage from attacks. Not your current active Pokemon doing 100 more. So if your opponent gets out of the active, or you knock out their Pokemon, that effect no longer carries over. And so, yeah, I think that's going to be the saving grace to have this Stunfisk not be as annoying. And already I'm kind of looking at this going, you know what? It kind of slaps. Let's build it. Right. And if you're the one that keeps building Stunfisk decks, I'll see you during the next live stream, I guess. Tapu Koko, a fan favorite Pokemon. You know, ever since Gen 7, that was the gen. Alola, this Pokemon has been loved by fans. In the TCG, Flying Flip was notoriously great. And this Tapu Koko looks okay. With the first attack for 1 single energy, Fast Flight, you may use this attack on your first turn, discard your hand, draw 5 cards. It's a Carmen as an attack. You don't normally get to attack on turn 1, so getting an extra Carmen off might be great. And I'm not going to tell United Wings players how to play, mostly because I just lost to one in the Popper Tournament finals from the day before this goes out. Actually, it was just a few minutes ago, hours more like it, from when I'm recording this. But this would be a fun inclusion to where you can go first and discard some United Wings attackers to get them into the discard, and then you could even like Carmen, discard, draw 5, Tapu Koko, discard, draw 5, and you just put 10 cards into the discard. Are all of them going to be unified wings attackers? No, but You might have some. And that seems fun. The other attack we don't really care about. 3 energy for 130 is just too darn high. Miss Magius. I forgot what this did. Let me read it real quick. For 2 energy, Assassin Magic. 60 damage. If your opponent's active Pokemon is affected by a special condition, put 6 damage counters on one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. Ooh, that's nice. Now, Battle Cage will stop that extra damage, but I like the flavor of this. You know, if your opponent's active is marked with a special condition, I recommend using Brute Bonnet until it rotates. It's still one of the best ways to get a special condition onto your opponent's Pokemon. But Brute Bonnet, where you can poison your opponent's active Pokemon so they're taking more damage. Maybe you play Perilous Jungle, but that would seriously hurt yourself too. But also you can use Binding Mochi. Since you'll also be poisoned, you can use Binding Mochi to increase your attack from 60 to 100, and then you're placing 6 damage counters on one of your opponent's benched Pokemon, and that's damage counters, not damage, so it actually hits through Shaman. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I think this is going to be a fun popper deck for sure. As long as Miss Magius doesn't come through as a rare, and if it does, that's going to be a swing and a miss, but I do like this. I think it's going to be a fun deck, and I can't wait to play it, honestly. Rotom! We're getting a new Rotom. I'm so excited. So this Rotom is a Psychic Rotom, meaning that we have 5 different Rotoms in the format, whatever format, of different types to hit for weaknesses. We got Mo Rotom, we got Heat Rotom, we got Wash Rotom, we got Rotom, and we got Rotom. Right, two of them are Rotom, so you could play like 2 of each, which is what I would recommend, but someone might recommend a different pairing. Just play 2 of all 5 of these Rotoms, and you've got the makings of good deck, you know? Just play a lot of Night Stretchers to grab back the ones you want. Again, watch the live stream of the Popper tournament I was just in, because we saw a really good Rotom deck from Sloan. I was just prepared for it. That was really it. I was prepared for it. I played 3 Tool Scrappers, and that just completely ruined their deck. But yeah, they made it into top 4. Fantastic deck. I want to copy it, honestly, and change it for myself. But yeah, real great. And now we got a new Rotom to add to it because it's got the same Gadget Show attack, but it's also got this Roto Call attack for a single colorless energy. Search your deck for as many Pokemon with Rotom in their name as you'd like, and place them onto your bench. Then shuffle your deck. So you can throw in a Rotom EX or 2 as well. Get that bad boy out. Not in Popper, obviously, but in Standard. Get that bad boy out. So now all your Rotoms can have twice as many tools and they can do twice as much damage. Fantastic. Love it. So excited for a new Rotom. Medicham. I originally did not put this on my list, and then I was thinking about while I was like grabbing images and whatnot. I was like, no, you know what? It deserves to be on the list. And do you know why? Because it's 150 damage for 1 energy. Mega Lucario for 1 energy does 130. This is a single prizer. No, not a 3 prize Mega. This is a single prizer for 1 energy doing 150 damage. The catch is that you have to have exactly 7 cards in your hand. Now, you could always end your turn by playing Professor's Research, draw up till you have 7, and then attack. That's one way to do it. My personal favorite way, and the way I'm going to be trying to do it, is probably mix it with like Lunatone, Soul Rock, and Kofu to like just play draw cards, right? I just want to draw as many cards as I can. Just let me draw, and I will draw until I have a good number, you know, get what I need, and try to mitigate my hand size from there, right? That's what I'm going to do. And I think Medicham can work. Is it going to be a good deck? Probably not. But is it going to be a fun deck to pilot? I almost guarantee it, right? So, yeah, Medicham seems fun. Next up, we got Carbink. And Carbink only made it onto this because it's got that dual type ability. Just like the Gallade imaged there, right next to me. Right next to me. Right there. I'm pointing to it. That Gallade, where it's both a fighting type and a psychic type. And it's primarily a fighting type, which is perfect because then Fighting Gong still works, because then Premium Power Pro still works. All the fighting stuff work for Carbink, but you can now also hit Psychic Weakness. And then the attack, while it is a hefty 3 energy, it does 70 plus damage. If your opponent has 2 or fewer prize cards remaining, this attack does 100 more damage, meaning it would do 170, which doubled for weakness is 340 damage before any modifiers you want to play, like Premium Power Pro, which would put it up to 200 damage, doubled for weakness to 400 damage. Like, yeah, and what's surviving 400 damage? Please tell me. Please. Heroes Cape on Omega. Sure. Then you're struggling. Then you might be like, oh no, this strategy is rough and maybe it's coarse and it gets everywhere. And yeah. No, it's still good. Just Tool Scrapper. Colossal. Some might call this a colossal waste of time. I call it Tar Cannon. 1 fighting energy. This attack does 140 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. If you don't have 10 or more basic fighting energy in your discard pile, this attack does nothing. 140 to the bench is insane. I would only hope that we get a tool card that lets you apply weakness to bench Pokemon, like we did back in the XY era. What was it, Wide Lens or something like that? I don't know. That made Buzzwole just a terror in Japan's format, but not ours, because those cards rotated out before Buzzwole. Well, yeah, like, just let us hit weakness to the bench and let us destroy those Pheasantipides. Please. That'd be funny, wouldn't it? Okie dokie. Okay, so this is a 3 energy attack. Settle the score where you do 80 plus damage. The plus? This attack does 60 more damage for each prize card your opponent took during their last turn. Okay, so we've mathed this out, right? And this is going to be a little ridiculous, but let's go to those extremes. So, if your opponent took 1 prize card that last turn, you do 140. If they took 2 prize cards during their last turn, you do 200. If they took 3 prize cards, maybe they knocked out your Mega Lucario, you know? You do 260 damage back to them. If they somehow take 4 prize cards, there are ways, you do 320 damage. And if they somehow pull off 5 prize cards in 1 turn, you can do 380 damage. And if they did 6 prize cards in 1 turn, you lost, so it doesn't matter. Okie dokie, able to do 380 damage. Likely? No, not at all. But it's fun to think about, right? For those certain situations. Maybe you throw a 1-of into Lucario if anyone's playing Lucario, you know? I think Mega Lucario is better than, well, a lot of people give it credit for, but, you know, that's just me. Yeah, I like Okie dokie. Next up, we got Galarian Obstagoon. And can we just say that art is awesome? There's been a lot of art cards on the screen so far. This one's really cool. Like, it's really cool. Anyways, we want to talk about that first attack for 2 energy, Scar Shot, 70 times damage. This attack does 70 damage times the number of damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon. I think Monkey Dory is the best way to get damage counters onto your opponent's Pokemon. just hands down, Monkey Dory is awesome. It uses darkness energy, so does Glaring Obstagoon. I think you see where it works, right? The only issue is Monkey Dory has to take it from someone. So you're going to have to figure that part out on yourself. I can't just give you the full deck list right now, you know? But yeah, Monkey Dory, to get damage counters over there. If you got one Monkey Dory, you throw 3 damage counters over there. That is 210 damage. Sorry, there's a loud noise. It was the cat. Plus the 3 that Monkey Dory threw over there, so that's 240 damage. That's a lot of damage. Peccarunt. This guy, he's just a silly looking guy. Just flying over some flowers there. So I want to talk about the ability, because the ability is the interesting part. The attack is whatever. The attack is 1 energy, 20 damage. It does 50 more if you did this attack last turn too, like, you know, sort of business. You're doing 70. Ooh, 70. But ability, just last chain. If this Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, search your deck for 1 card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. It immediately made me think of Radiant Jirachi or Amulet of Hope A-Spec. Is that what it was called? That might be what it's called. But Radiant Jirachi, where when you knock out the Pokemon, Radiant Jirachi got 3 cards. This only gets 1, but that should be fine. It's better than getting none, right? And it can just help you set up, you know? So you got like a cheap little attacker early game that can get you a good card when your opponent eventually knocks it out, you know? How many times do we leave a Pokemon in the active just be like, yeah, knock it out so I can replace it with my real attacker? Now Peccarunt can like actually like benefit you. Yeah. King Gumbut. The ability is really the only thing we need to talk about. The attack is like 2 metal, 180. I think you deal 50 to yourself for it, which is lame, but you know, it happens. The ability Supreme Overlord. Attacks used by this Pokemon deal 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon for each prize card your opponent has taken. So I mathed this out for you. If they've taken 1 prize card, you're doing 210 damage. That knocks out a Pheasantipity, which is not bad. If they've taken 2 prize cards, you're doing 240. And I'm just using its base attack, the 2 metal energy, 180. I'm sure there's ways this can be manipulated, especially with Relicanth out there, just as an idea. Because for Alligator, you know, it had options for attacks and did more damage and all that stuff. But yeah, whatever. So 2 prize cards, 240. If they've taken 3 prize cards, that's 270. Hey, yo, that's not bad. That's 4 prize cards. You're dealing 300. There's not many Pokemon that can survive 300, you know. But they've taken 5 prize cards. You're dealing 330 damage, and that knocks out Dragapult, that knocks out Charizard EX, that knocks out quite a bit. And hopefully that's like your final knockout that you need, you know? And if they've taken 6 prize cards, it doesn't matter, you lost, right? So 330 is pretty impressive, in my opinion. In my professional opinion, as a Pokemon TCG YouTuber guy, person thing. Dragonair. Look at that thing. I don't know how it flies, but it does. Like, the wings on its head can't lift the tail like that. I don't know. Just real good core strength to be able to lift your entire body up to be level to fly using only your head, you know? But anyways, let's ignore that I know nothing about lifting. Ability, evolution discovery. If this Pokemon has any energy attached to it, you may use this ability once during your turn. Search your deck for an evolution Pokemon. Reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your deck. Bada bing, bada boom, you're done. You got your evolution, you get your cookie, you sit down, be quiet, and be happy with your evolution Pokemon. It just needs an energy attached, which is not too difficult to do. It doesn't even say it has to be a particular energy. It just needs to be a energy, any energy. It will take a friggin' therapeutic energy if you got one to spare. Yeah, I think Dragonair is going to be fun. It's going to help in Popper as well. Just help you with your Pokemon search. Just get you what you need. Even if you do a 1-1 line and you don't always use it, when you do, it's going to be great. And when you don't, guess what? You're playing a normal game of Pokemon then. Yeah, I think it's great. Noibat. I forgot to put, or Noivern. Sorry, the evolution of Noibat. I forgot to put the name up in the corner. Apologies. So, this thing's got 2 attacks. The first one, kind of lame. Agility. We all know what agility does. 40 damage, flip a coin. If heads, during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage from and effects of attacks done to this Pokemon. Fantastic, right? It was the second attack that made me kind of excited, because it reminded me of my first jank deck that I ever built. And that's Alolan Raticate from Burning Shadows. If you played back in the Sun and Moon era, and if you ever played against someone playing Alolan Raticate, there's a decent chance it was me. Like, if you were playing online, sort of thing. If we were playing in person, you would have known it was me, because it would be me sitting there. And you would just think back, oh yeah, that was that guy. But online, I was mostly talking. So what this does is it's for 2 energy, and it's called Enhanced Blade. 70 plus damage. If this Pokemon has a Pokemon tool attached, this attack does 70 more damage. That is 140 damage, plus whatever the tool's effect may be. Maybe it's that thick scale tool. That's what I'm thinking. But the Alolan Raticate for 0 energy did 10 damage. If it had a tool attached, it did 50 more, so that was 60. And back then, that was good. And I wasn't relying off weakness to get most KOs, right? Noivern can't hit anything for weakness, but you're doing 140. Then you add in the tools effect. I don't know. Seems kind of cool. Seems kind of based. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Anyways, moving on. Let's talk about the Pokemon EX. Or the EX Pokemon, as I put here. Regice EX. I think we all know how we feel about Regice right about now. I try not to curse here, so I won't. But, yeah, no, terrible. Absolute garbage. Well, get him out of here. I'll tell you what it does. But, yeah, no one likes ice. Reg Charge. It's the same thing on every Regi EX card. Regi Charge. Attach up to 2 basic, whatever type it is, energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. So you can accelerate energy to it. Then for 4 energy, you do 140 damage. And then the effect is actually kind of cool. Discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. Reminds me of that Weavile back from... Oh my gosh. What's that? What set was that? Shrouded Fable, maybe? I don't know. But for 2 energy, you did 70, and then you discard the energy, and your opponent's active is now paralyzed. So it's auto paralyzation, and all you gotta do is throw on a Power Glass and attach for each turn, and you're golden. You're paralyzing every turn, and that's gonna be a deck. An annoying deck, but it's gonna be a deck. Registeel. Okay, so its first attack, Regicharge. Did you know that? Attach up to 2 basic metal energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. Yeah, just attach 2 metal energy. That way you can hopefully do the 4 energy attack, Behemoth, of Protect Steel, where you do 140 damage. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 50 less damage from attacks. Then you mix in Iron Defenders, you mix in Full Metal Labs, you mix in Tools, you mix in whatever. And you just try to take as little damage as possible. Interesting. Interesting card. Voltorb EX is garbage and should not have been made. For 3 energy, 100-fold rollout, 100 plus damage. Flip a coin until you get tails. This attack does 100 more damage for each heads. Okay. You're lucky if you get 200. You're even luckier if you get 3. Unlikely that you're getting 400 damage here. And it just makes me think of Kangaskhan, who has more HP, has a second attack, which is its top attack, its cheaper attack. For 1 energy, you draw 3 cards, which is just great. And then Kangaskhan for 3 energy, you flip 4 coins and you deal 100 for each heads. So yeah, like Kangaskhan, I feel like is better odds than Voltorb. But Voltorb does at least do 100. Kangaskhan, you could just flip 4 tails and do no damage. Voltorb, you're at least doing 100. But yeah, I think it's a lame card overall. Which is sad. I kind of dig Voltorb. I like the simplicity of him, you know? I really like Hisui and Voltorb more, but, you know, Voltorb's fine. Miraidon EX. More like Mid-Rhydon. So many people have made that joke, including me. Anyways, we're talking about the second attack. 3 energy, Hydron Spike. 120 plus damage. If your opponent's active Pokemon is a Pokemon EX, this attack does 120 more damage. That's 240 damage. With a maximum belt, that's 290 damage. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. No stage 2 EXs. You're going to miss a lot of Megas, but still pretty good. Pretty good. Azumarill EX. With the ability Bubble Bundle. As often as you like during your turn, you may move an energy from one of your Pokemon to this Pokemon. And then Energy Balloon is the attack for 60 damage plus. This attack does 40 more damage for each psychic energy attached to this Pokemon. So I kind of see this as you know, Gardevoir is going to be rotating soon. And this might be the, not the Gardevoir of the next format, but the big psychic attacker of the next format, you know? You might be playing, I don't know what card's going to accelerate psychic energy, honestly. I think Xatu also rotates, so I don't know what the kids would be playing. But once you have all that psychic energy out there, Azumarill can like come down and then like absorb all that psychic energy and get big KOs, right? And that's what I'm hoping for. Just big KOs from that peekaboo looking face, right? Right. I think we all agree. Azumarill is going to be interesting, going to be fun to play around with, probably not going to be so great. If you can make it survive like a single hit, then you could like play down another Azumarill, move all that energy onto the new one, and then like throw the damaged one into your hand, you know, and that kind of stuff, which could be an interesting take on that strategy. But yeah, once Gardevoir's gone, I think Azumarill could see play. I guess we will have Mega Gardevoir. And that accelerates energy out onto the field, doesn't it? Food for thought. We're back at it with a Stunfisk. Now, Stunfisk EXs have not been nearly the pain in my side that regular Stunfisk have been, but this one looks fun. So for 1 fighting energy, 30 damage, big bite. The defending Pokemon can't retreat during your opponent's next turn. That's fine. Trap him in the active for a little bit. You know, who cares? It's just a little nibble of 30 damage. And then a Soggy Trap. Oh my gosh. Is that really We're going to have to wait for the translation because I doubt it's going to be called that. 3 energy, Soggy Trap for 100 plus damage. If this Pokemon has any damage counters on it, this attack does 100 more damage. That's 200 damage. 200 damage isn't bad. We talked about What's-Its-Face doing 200 damage. And that wasn't bad. We talked about a lot of Pokemon doing 200 damage. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. You know, I would recommend Survival Brace on how to get the damage counters on there. You're 210 HP, so that's kind of low. I mean, an opposing Stunfisk would just need a Vitality Band to knock you out if they have damage counters on them. There you go. Koraidon EX. Koraidon EX, mostly a pointless card, but let's read about it, huh? So Koraidon's first attack is 2 energy, 50 plus damage, deep brown fangs. His fangs are red. Weird. If one of your Pokemon was knocked out by damage from an attack during your opponent's last turn, this attack does 120 more damage, which sounds great. You know, 170 damage isn't bad until you realize there's a Lucario single prizer that for a single energy can do 150 under the same conditions. And that doesn't see play. So why would a basic for 2 energy and a 2 prizer see play? It does have a 3 energy attack that does 200, and then it can't use that attack next turn. If that matters. Mandibuzz EX. Now, if there was going to be a worst card on this jank list, it would probably be Mandibuzz EX. Like, I don't think there is a worst card out there. Like, that's not right. There are bad cards. I don't think there's an EX out there. No, because there's Lucario EX. I don't know. Mandibuzz is bad. That's what I'm trying to say. Bone Shot for 2 energy. You can do 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Great! No, Hops Corviknight as a stage 2 single prizer and a single energy can do 50 to the active and 50 to a benched. Yeah. And then Mandibuzz's second attack for 3 energy does 160 damage, and you discard a random card from your opponent's hand? That's serviceable. You might see someone play it for fun. Like, let's make a thumbnail where I'm like, I play the worst Pokemon EX. Like, you know, that could be a thumbnail, and then people are like, oh, how do they play such a trash card? And then they, like, attack once with Mandibuzz, and then they just attack with someone else the rest of the time. You know? Like, I don't know. I'm not throwing shade. Or am I? I don't know. I don't know anymore. I'm tired. Togedemaru EX. Togedemaru, one of the better Pikachu clones, in my opinion. Togedemaru is just awesome. I love him. I love that little guy. So for a single energy, I don't know if I can say that word. Single energy, something needle. 20 damage. Flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. Sorry. I didn't. Sorry. I'm tired. This video is already pretty long. It's a fine attack. It's nothing great. It's a, oh, I really need to buy a turn attack, right? There is spiky rollout, which I kind of dig. 2 energy, 80 plus damage. If this Pokemon used spiky rollout during your last turn, this attack does 80 more. So you're doing 160. And I know I just said Mandibuzz was bad for doing 160, but that was 3 energy on a stage 1. This is a basic and it's 2 energy. So it's better than Mandibuzz. Zangoose EX. Zangoose. And the only reason why I like this better than Mandibuzz is its first attack, colorless energy, 20 damage, draw 2 cards. Love it. I hate that it's on the rest of this card. I wish its second attack was better. It just reminds me of Kangaskhan Kong EX, where for a single energy you drew 3 cards but did 0 damage. There's plenty of times where I'd rather do like 0 damage and get an extra card than do 20 damage and get 1 less card, you know? But its second attack, 3 energy, Wild Scissors, 180 damage. This Pokemon does 30 damage to itself. Still better than Mandibuzz. What about that? Hey, look at that. Erica's Pokemon. All right, now we're going to get into the trainer's Pokemon, and I want to go over Erica first because Erica looks like she's going to be a lot of fun. Erica's Tangela with the ability Colorful Riot. You may use this ability once during your turn, search your deck for an Erica's Pokemon and reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. It's Cynthia's Gabite, but for Erica. They really did just go, hey, female trainer, same. Like, come on, Pokemon. Come on. But I do like that ability. I like that Erica's Tangela is on a basic rather than Cynthia's Gabite, which is stage 1. So it's got that advantage. And I think it's got a really good partner Pokemon to go with it. A real good Erica's Pokemon to go with it. I hope it's the next slide. It is. Erica's Victory Bell. With the 2 energy attack, Flower Garden Rondo. They love those Rondo attacks. 40 times damage. This attack does 40 damage for each Erica's Pokemon you have in play. And since 4 of those Pokemon are going to be Erica's Tangela, that's pretty easy. You play down Forest of Vitality, and then you just grab your Bellsprout, Weeping Bell, Victory Bell, and evolve straight up. Add the 2 energy, maybe a Crispin, and you attack, right? It feels like it should be more difficult than Team Rocket's Spidops, but really, it's so much easier in my mind. I could be wrong. You know, and you're doing more damage. Sure, that only comes out to, hold on, let me do the math. 240 damage from a stage 2. But if Victory Bell is Popper legal, that's pretty good. That's Paldean Tauros good. Yeah. So yeah, I hope you understand how good that can be. Anyways, that's Erica's Victory Belt. Now let's look at the garbage Erica's Pokemon. Erica's Vileplume EX. So yeah, this is an EX, so it's a 2 prize liability. And the picture of Swadloon there will make sense once I read the ability. Envious Scent. Once during your turn, you may heal 30 damage from each of your Pokemon. Cool. How often do you need to heal anything other than the active? Right? That's kind of it. That's my whole point. Swadloon will heal 20 from your active Pokemon. Erica's Vileplume, sure, will heal 30 from any Pokemon, which can be good. But it's not great, you know? I don't know. Maybe someone else will like it. It does have a 3 energy attack where you do 160. Mandibuzz? No. 160. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned and asleep, so it does more than Mandibuzz. Sure, it's a stage 2, but does more than Mandibuzz. So that means your damage is actually 170 because of poison, and there's a 50% chance they can't do anything on their turn. That's nice. That's nice. Hop's Pokemon. This is going to be quick, I promise. Hop's Pincurchin EX. Ability. Counterattack Quills. If this Pokemon is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, put 3 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. I wish it was more than 3. 3 feels low, especially since the attack for 3 energy only does 120. But it's a basic, and you get to draw 2 cards. That could be the deal breaker. Like that could make Hop's Pincurchin good. Plus, Hop's Pincurchin also does have Hop's Choice Band to add 30 damage, Postwick to add 30 damage. So you're looking at, or was, wait, there's also Hop's Snorlax. What does that do? And Hop's Dubwool. There's other Hop things that could help out this Pokemon to make that 120 damage a bit better, you know? The ability just made me think of Rocky Helmet, and instead of grabbing Rocky Helmet, I grabbed Vengeful Punch because Vengeful Punch is better. So, my brain. Team Rocket's Pokemon. I told you Hop would be quick. And it was. Team Rocket's Hypnotizer. Yes, this isn't a Pokemon. It's a Pokemon card. I bent the rules a little bit. Sue me. But don't, because I have no money, and it would be pointless for both of us. Team Rocket's Hypnotizer. If the Team Rocket's Pokemon this card is attached to is in the active spot and is damaged by an opponent's attack, even if it is knocked out, the attacking Pokemon is now asleep. It reminded me of Poison Barb, but for sleep rather than poison. And only for Team Rocket Pokemon. But hey, there's a 50% chance that they'll stay asleep, going into your turn. And then going into their turn, another 50% chance if they haven't already woken up. But I'm sure it's fine. No, it actually seems like it could be a little fun. It's more of an extra thing. Like if you've got 4 open spaces in your Team Rocket deck, Team Rocket's Hypnotizer is pretty good. I'm struggling so much not to just say Hypnotoxic Laser, you know? Team Rocket's Executor. Executor is awesome. So for 2 energy, you can do Trikinesis. Is that really what they're going with? Ugh. Flip 3 coins. If they are all heads, knock out one of your opponent's Pokemon. It's like Astral Misfortune from Radiant Jirachi, but way worse. And it can hit a benched Pokemon. It doesn't have to be their active. So you could just if maybe they got a single prizer in the active, and you don't want to waste an attack on that, but you don't have Team Rocket's Giovanni or Boss's Ors or whatever. And so you're like, you know what? I'll just put Team Rocket's Executor, and I'll just flip 3 coins, and we'll see. Worst case scenario, they knock out my Team Rocket's Executor, and no one cares. You know, maybe that's a strat. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's Maybelline. You decide. Team Rocket's Doug Trio. This thing looks super annoying. Team Rocket's Doug Trio has an ability called Pothole. Whenever your opponent's active Pokemon moves to the bench during their turn, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. When I first read this, I missed the during their turn part. And I was like, yo, that's sick. If I Boss's Orders them, they take 20 damage? Sign me up. No, that's not how it works. But still, I think Team Rocket's Doug Trio, Team Rocket's Tyranitar, and Minun and Plusle could all fit together in a weird Frankenstein deck that just causes damage counters without attacking. Which sounds funny. To me. I hope it does to you too. But yeah, I like it. I think it's interesting. And I think someone's going to play this and be very annoying with it. And that's going to be great. Team Rocket's Honchkrow. What? We got Murkrow a while ago. Now we get Honchkrow? Why didn't we get Honchkrow before? I don't know. Don't ask me questions. I know nothing. Anyways, 2 energy, Rocket Feathers, 60 times damage. Discard any number of supporter cards with Team Rocket in their name from your hand. This attack does 60 damage for each card discarded this way. This might be the only time I say, hey, maybe you play Miracle Headset. And 4 Palpad. And 4 Team Rocket Transceivers. And 4 Pokegear. That might be too much, actually. That's a lot of cards. But anyways, I did some math for you. If you discard 1, I know this is going to blow your mind, you do 60 damage. Discard 2, you do 120 damage. Discard 3, and you do 180 damage. Discard 4, you're doing 240 damage. That's just one playset of Team Rocket supporters that you just discard, and you do 240 damage. You discard 5, you're doing 300 damage, and it can keep going. But why would I, right? Team Rocket's Kangaskhan. Oh man, I really hope people watch this whole thing. I know people don't, but it would really make... I really hope I'm as entertaining as I believe I am. Team Rocket's Kangaskhan. I know it's a little weird entertainment. Like, I'm not a tell joke haha time. I'm like tell joke and you think like, wow, that was stupid, you know? Like, I really hope people think I'm like a worse Monty Python. Like, yeah, he makes some funny things, but like, he's also dumb, you know? Anyways, Team Rocket's Kangaskhan EX. The first attack for 2 energy, Comet Punch. 30x damage, flip 4 coins. This attack does 30 damage for each heads. It's terrible. It's terrible. Just 2 energy, 120 would be fine. It would be serviceable. I'd be like, hey, that's not bad. For a colorless 2 energy, you can power that up in 1 energy attachment with Team Rocket's energy. Like, that's not bad. 4 coin flips, and the max you can do is 120? Nah. But anyways, for 3 energy, Dark Impact, 120 plus damage. I just said how 2 energy, 120 was like barely good enough. Now we're talking 3 energy, 120. However, if you played a supporter card with Team Rockets in its name from your hand during this turn, this attack does 100 more damage. That's 220 damage. That knocks out some basic EXs. Not Team Rocket's Kangaskhan, but a Pheasantipity it would. And it made me think of Wigglytuff here, which for 3 energy did 90, plus if you played a supporter, 90 more, so 180 for 3 energy. And Kangaskhan is technically doing more damage and has a double energy it can utilize to pay for its attack cost faster. You know? Ends Pokemon. All the Pokemon that make you go, nope. Here's Enzecarom. For 3 energy, 70 damage. This attack's damage isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. What effect would block this attack? I don't know. Mostly, okay, when it comes down to Ends Pokemon, you really have to keep in mind the fact that it's for Enzorark to use. It's not for Enzecarom to use. It's for Enzorark to use. So there are Pokemon, there are effects that will affect Enzorark. A Mimikyu with Safeguard will be not taking damage. A Mimikyu has 70 HP. Enzorark can use Shred from Enzecarom and hit through that effect and knock out a Mimikyu. Hey, there's a use for it. Cool. And then for 4 energy, again, we don't care about the energy because Enzorark's just going to copy the attack. 250 damage, and this Pokemon can't attack during your next turn, which we all know how to fix that. You move to the bench. So 250 damage, that's pretty darn good. You know? And then just retreat, because End's Castle gives you free retreat. And attack with the other Enzorark that you have, copying the same attack. Unless you're up against Mimikyu, then you shred. On the guitar. Ends Vanillux. A lot of people have talked about Ends Vanillux, and I understand why. The desire of being like, aha, you've played into my trap, Yugi. Now I will use Layered Snow and double the number of damage counters on each of your Pokemon. It fills your soul with joy, but it ain't gonna happen. I'm sorry to break it to you. It ain't gonna happen. This is on a stage 2. Even if you're copying this attack using Enzorark, you're not copying this attack, you know? Like, there are so many other better attacks. Like the one that does 250. Remember that one? That's amazing. This is okay at best. It does have another attack. Blizzard does 120 damage. This attack does 10 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. You're not going to be blizzarding a bunch and then, like, end the game with a layered snow. Like, that's not how that's going to work. Man, my neck is feeling weird right now, and I'm worried I'm going to just snap it. Anyways, let's move on. Athena and Concordia? I think that's their names. Unless it's Antia and no, it's Concordia. You can only play this card if you have Ends Darmanitan, Ends Zoroark EX, Ends Reshiram, Ends Zekrom, Ends Klinkling, and Ends Vanillux in play. All you Yu-Gi-Oh players being like, yo, Exodia? Kind of. During this turn, if your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack from one of your Ends Pokemon, mostly Ends Zoroark, take 3 extra prize cards. Meaning if it's a Mega Pokemon that you're knocking out, you win the game. Someone's going to try this. Are they going to be successful in the tournament? Probably not. But someone is going to try this and make a great YouTube thumbnail. And yeah. Larry's Pokemon. Did you remember Larry? Not the cable guy. This guy. Larry's Kamala is good. But it only helped Larry Pokemon. Ability, Lethargic Charge. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is on your bench, you may attach an energy card from your hand to your active Larry's Pokemon. Now, it did not say basic energy. So as long as this translation is correct, and it doesn't only apply to basic energy cards, you can attach special energy cards, which just makes this insane. Plus, it doesn't limit it in this translation to you can only use this ability once, meaning as long as you have another Larry's Kamala on the bench, you can attach another energy and another one and another one, and if you've got 4 out, you can attach 4 energy plus your 1 for turn, so that's 5 energy per turn. That's insane. Yes, it is insane. Don't do that. But you might want like 2 out. Drowsy Draw. This Pokemon is now asleep. Draw 2 cards. Not great, but draw 2 cards is nice. It's nice. And then you just get this thing on the bench, and then you're accelerating energy to Larry's Pokemon, such as Larry's Rufflet. That's right, Larry's Lufflet. I found more interesting than the bravery that evolves from it, the Larry's bravery. Larry's Rufflet, almost said Larry's Ruffles there. Ruffles have ridges. Larry's Rufflet for 2 energy, Peck the Wound, 20 plus damage. If your opponent's active Pokemon has any damage counters on it, this attack does 80 more damage. That's 100 damage from this puny, tiny 70 HP Pokemon. And I think that's cool. And I could see a Pauper deck built around that. Now, I showed Relicanth there because I don't like Larry's Bravery. It's okay. If you can play Relicanth, because you can't play it in Pauper, you can use Peck the Wound as Bravery and get the benefits of being a stage 1, meaning more HP, and use the Peck the Wound attack, right? So, like, yeah, I like it. I like it, you know? And it's 2 energy, but with the Kamala on the bench, that's just, like, 1 turn. Larry's Kamala and then attach from turn. And you can do 100 damage to anything that has damage counters on it. Yes, please. Larry's Dunsparce EX. Heck yes. This Dunsparce EX. For 3 energy, Work Rush. 80 times damage. Flip a coin for each energy attached to this Pokemon. This attack does 80 damage for each heads, which is fun. You add in the Larry's Kamala, you put 4 of them on the bench, you have a bench Dunsparce, Larry's Dunsparce, and then you have an active Larry's Dunsparce, right? And you can attach 5 energy per turn. That's exciting. That is more exciting to me than the Helioptile that we talked about way in the beginning of this video. I think this is really cool. I think it's going to be fun. Don't think it's going to be competitive, but my brother loves Dunsparce and by extension Dunsparce, and so I gotta build it. I gotta build it. This might be one of the first decks I build just because it's stupidly easy, you know? Blossom, that's a Pokemon we should really talk more about, but it's got a similar attack as a stage 2. This is a stage 1. Swings and roundabouts, really. But yeah, I like it. I like it. Impact energy is going to go nuts with this. Impact? No. Ignition. I always get that messed up. Ignition energy is going to go nuts with this. You can attach all 4 ignition energy in one turn thanks to Kamala's, as long as that ability works how we think it works. That's crazy. That's crazy. Almost as crazy as Larry's Staraptor. And really, really the one I want to talk about is Facade. The first attack for a single energy, colorless. If this Pokemon is 60 damage, sorry. If this Pokemon is poisoned or burned, this attack does 100 more, so you can do 160 damage as long as you're poisoned. Which then you can add Binding Mochi and do 200 damage from this single prize colorless Pokemon for a single energy. That's fun. And Brute Bonnet is not long for this format. It'll be leaving in the beginning of April. So get to playing it now, because you ain't going to get to play it after rotation. Yeah. The Megas. Here we are. We're coming to the end. And all we have to talk about are the Megas. And maybe a couple cards I threw in here and there, because they relate to the Megas that I'm going to be talking about. Mega Meganium EX. Giant Bouquet for 3 energy, 70 plus damage. This attack does 50 more damage for each grass energy attached to this Pokemon. Hint, only attach grass energy. There's no reason to attach anything that's not a grass energy to this Meganium. And as a bonus, play the single prize Meganium. You can have one Chikorita devoted to that Meganium, while your other Chikorita are devoted to Mega Meganium, because that Meganium doubles all your grass energy, right? So you can actually use this attack with 2 energy, and you'll be doing 270 damage at that point, which is cool. 270 is really good, and then you just, for each energy you attach, as long as you have that baby Meganium out, it adds another 100 damage. So you get a 3rd energy attached there, you're doing 370 damage. Add on a Vitality Band, and nothing's surviving without, some trickery. Not even other Megas. So I like it. I really do. I don't think it's going to be a good deck, but it's going to be a fun deck. And it might do decent. Mega Charizard Y EX. Why? Why not? I think that's really why they made this. So Explosion Y. Sometimes I think I'm funnier than I actually am, and sometimes I'm laughing at the jokes I'm not making. Discard 3 energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 280 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. 280 is a good amount. It's not a great amount, though. That's the sad part about this. Doing 280 to a benched Pokemon is great. You'll be knocking out plenty of stage 2, or not stage 2s, 2 prizers. That's about where it stops. That's what you're going to want to do. So you need to do this 3 times. So, big brain time. You have 4 Charmanders. You evolve one into Charizard EX. You evolve the other into Mega Charizard Y EX. You attack with Mega Charizard Y EX, knock out a 2 prizer. You evolve the other Charmander into Charizard EX. And you attack with Mega Charizard Y EX. And you KO another 2 prizer. And guess what? The last Charmander you evolve into Charizard EX. And then you attack with Mega Charizard Y EX and knock out another 2 prizer. And then you win. Just don't target a Terra Pokemon. Please. That would be funny. Because I don't like Charizard. No one does. It's a terrible Pokemon. It's just a lizard. moving on. Mega Embor EX. With the Crimson Blast attack for 3 energy, you do 320 damage. It also does 60 damage to itself, but that doesn't matter, because with a maximum belt, you can do 370 damage. And then you just gotta play a Victini that lets your Evolution Fire Pokemon do 10 more damage. And you're doing 380 damage. And nothing's surviving. I don't think we have any Pokemon reaching 400 HP without Hero's Cape currently. Maybe we do. But I don't know who it is. Mega for Alligator. With the 3 energy attack. Killer Crunch. Oh man. Do you think it's just eating cereal? Like, it's just eating Captain Crunch, but it calls it Killer Crunch. The last time I ate Captain Crunch, it cut up my gums so bad. I don't know where I'm going with this. Killer Crunch, 200 damage. If your opponent's active Pokemon has damage counters on it, this attack does 200 more damage. Then you're doing 400 damage, plus whatever damage counters it had on before, you're KOing. That's what it's saying. 3 energy, Mega for Alligator EX, you're KOing. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Not even for alligators, but. Mega Frostlass EX. This art made me like Mega Frostlass. I didn't care too much about the form when I saw it in the video game, but here, I kind of dig it with the devil horns and whatnot. Like, it's pretty legit. I could see that being in an anime somewhere and scaring so many characters. Anyways, let's talk about that first attack. 1 energy, Rebellion, 50 times damage. This attack does 50 damage times the number of cards in your opponent's hand. That's not really how they write Pokemon cards. It'll probably just say this attack does 50 damage for each card in your opponent's hand, but that's just, you know, whatever. And I like it. I do. It punishes your opponent for having a good hand size. I mean, think about it. They need 6 cards in hand for you to do 300 damage. That's not that much, honestly. You can Iono them into hands of 6 cards, you know? You can also use Chandelure, Alluring Light, to make them draw cards, which is kind of cool. You could play Lieutenant Surge's whatever it's called, where, like, you ask your opponent, do you want to take a prize? Oh, I'll take a prize too if you say yes. You know, that card, where that adds an extra card into their hand. And you can get Rebellion to hit pretty good numbers. The second attack, 3 energy, 150, your opponent's active Pokemon's now asleep. Not great. But that first attack is actually pretty legit. But Chandelure is a stage 2. Mega Frostlass is a stage 1. I can see where it gets clunky. And I forgot to put Frostmoth on this slide. Frostmoth! So the ability, Inviting Wings. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon's in your active spot, you may use this ability. Each player draws a card. It's like Chandelure, but it's got to be in the active. That's the downside. And then you can just Air Balloon, retreat into your Frostlass, and then hit big, right? And yes, it's only 1 card at a time, but every card counts. Every card counts. And I like the Frostmoth's art. It's real cool. And I like how it's like the ice is melting, you know? Like, I just think it's real cool and nice. Mega Electros EX. So this guy is okay. So for the first attack, 2 lightning energy seems a bit steep, honestly. This attack does 60 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. Not bad. You know, if we compare it to Hops Corviknight, the extra energy, I think, is, what is the word I'm trying to say? Not important, but worth it? Worth it. Because you're doing 60 to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. A lot of Pokemon have 60 HP, although nowadays you're more seeing 70 and 80 HPs more popular, but a lot of Pokemon have 60 HP. So this could just be a 2 prize turn, just using that attack, you know? So that's not bad. Then let's talk about Disaster Shock, the 3 energy attack, where you do 190. You may discard 2 lightning energy from this Pokemon. If you do, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. We have Electric. Electric? I don't know how you want to pronounce it. Electric, I like to say. With the Dynamotor ability, where you can attach basic lightning energy from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. Yes, Mega Electros has 2 retreat. That's an air balloon or a Toad's Cruel retreat onto the bench. Put up the one that has 3 energy. Dynamotor some energy onto the one that just retreated. And attack again. And you can paralyze lock. For sure. There's a lot of paralyze lock in this set. There's 2 cards. That's a lot for the set. But, you know, I think people are going to try to play it, and I think they're going to have fun. And it's going to be annoying. For sure. But yeah. And really, like, once you do 2 of these attacks, you're knocking out whatever you're attacking. So the paralyze doesn't even matter. Mega Hawlucha EX. With the ability Strong Body. Pause for effect and for me to drink because my throat hurts. When this Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack, flip a coin. If heads, this Pokemon is not knocked out and its remaining HP becomes 10. Just make sure to poison them before you attack and they'll still be gone even if they flip heads. Just a little cheat sheet there. But the ability does remind me of Survival Brace or that Pikachu EX that we talked about in the very beginning of this video. And then the Somersault Dive, 120 plus damage. If there is a stadium in play, this attack does 140 more damage. Then discard that stadium. That's 260 damage. It is 3 energy. I would have preferred it to be 2 energy, to be honest. But it's still decent. It's a little bit of like stage disruption. If your opponent wins the stadium war, you can discard their stadium sort of thing. I don't like that you have to discard the stadium to do the extra damage. Well, there has to be a stadium in play to do the extra damage. And then the discard doesn't happen until after the damage is done. So it's not like you can discard Neutralization Zone and then deal the damage, right? So, like, it's a little clunky, but I get it, and I like it, and it's okay. Mega Hawlucha is just cool, though, honestly. Mega Scrafty EX. The ability Counter Crowl. If this Pokemon is in the active spot when it takes damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, place 5 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. Meowth. Sorry. Meowth. I don't know if you can hear him, but he wants in. And now he's in. And he's going to want out in about 5 seconds. But let me tell you. Being attacked and then dealing damage always feels good. Especially when you can get a KO with that. And 5 damage counters is quite a bit. What'd I say? He wants back out. Alright, Meowth. See you later. The Outlaw Leg Attack, 3 energy, 160. What did we say about Mandibuzz? Choose a random card in your opponent's hand and discard it. And discard the top card of your opponent's deck. So this compared to Mandibuzz. The benefit is, what, you get to discard 2 cards rather than 1. Like, it's just not great. It's just not great. And I'm sorry, all you Scrafty fans. Mega Scrafty looks cool, but Outlaw Leg is just kind of lame. I mean, you mix it with the ability, and it's still better than Mandibuzz, but come on. Mega Dragonite EX. Is this the last one? I forget. Mega Dragonite EX with the ability Sky Transport. Once during your turn, you may use this ability. Switch your active Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon. It's a switch. 3 energy, you can do 330, which can knock out a Dragapult, can knock out a Charizard EX, can knock out some good things. Can knock out a Mega Kangaskong if it doesn't have a Bravery Charm. Yeah. Mega Dragonite's okay. I think you have to discard 2 energy when you use that attack, so it's not great. But yeah. Nope, we got Mega Audino. How could you forget about Mega Audino? I don't know. So the first attack for a single colorless energy. You flip 3 coins. For each heads, you search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards. Attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like, then shuffle your deck. It's like having 3 Technical Machine Turbo Energizes on your one Pokemon, as long as you can flip nothing but heads, which is fun. It's going to be a fun setup Pokemon. I even like its attack, which is just a silly little attack that I can use later on at some point. Ear Force, love that. 20 plus damage. This deck does 80 more damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. Gone are the days where we're attaching ridiculous amounts of energy, unless you're Larry's Dudunsparce EX, I guess. Or Teal Mask Ogerpon or something like that. I do wish it was on both actives. Just saying. Then it would have been a banger. But because it's only on your opponent's active, you have no direct control over that. So yeah, it's a little weak, but I do like its setup move, where you can just practically set up your entire field. If you flip like 2 heads, you've got your next couple attackers set. You know? I like it. I think it's interesting. And yeah, so I hope you have enjoyed this. I don't think I did a final slide. I did not do a final slide. It's already past midnight, so I really want to get to bed. And yeah. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. If you did make it to the end, let me know, because I put a lot of energy into this. As you can tell, I'm pretty tired after the long day that I've had. But I hope that you enjoy this. I hope that you had fun. You laughed a couple times. You maybe cried with me at some of those bad cards that we saw. But yeah, thanks for joining me. Maybe you have an idea for a deck or two. I would love to hear about those ideas down in the comments, in the Discord, my next live stream, wherever. I'd love to hear. And just want to say I appreciate each and every one of you very much, especially my members being Professor W and the Link Hawkins. I appreciate both of you greatly, and I hope more people become members and enjoy more content from me. And of course, until next time, keep playing Jank.